Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Legal Legends Podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez Chomot. I'm Vice President of Strategic Partnership for Synergy and founder of Legal Legends Podcast. Today, I have an amazing guest, someone who is redefining what it is to be an attorney. So many people think you're in an office all day, doors closed, blinds down, nonstop. You never get a chance to breathe. You don't actually get to enjoy your existence. She's here to tell you that's not how it needs to be. I have with me today the owner and founder of Vaval Law and the laptop lifestyle lawyer,
It's a
Kara
tongue twister.
Vaval. I mean, you're gonna teach people that you don't have to be sitting in an office all day with the blinds down and be a miserable human being, right?
No, because I haven't done that for 16 years that I've been doing this. I've been doing it this way and it's working. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and congrats on what you're doing, man. Right before getting here, I told you I've been watching you just continually growing and, perfecting your craft. And so kudos to you. Love the fact that you have this platform that you get to feature, us and giving people, options of how they can do this thing, right? And so, yeah. So I started my firm 16 years ago, completely virtual, way before COVID made it sexy, and it was funny because when I created the Laptop Lifestyle Lawyer brand, it was right when COVID hit, and my one thing that I always knew was going to be difficult for me to be able to overcome is the lawyer's perspective that they need an office and that they need to be going, and having the receptionist and all the things. I had gone to the Florida bar with my program and got 11 CLE credits for it. Like I had all the things, but it was that one thing. I was like, how am I going to, convince lawyers of that? And then COVID hit and I was like, thank you. So it just has been such a blessing for me to just be able to share what I do with lawyers. A lot of women lawyers tend to lean into my program and find a structure that allows them to have the balance, the time freedom, the money freedom, of course, doing PI. And so, yeah, it's been amazing.
It shows how good you are because I didn't even have to ask a question.
Well,
I didn't have to ask a question.
I also host a podcast. So
Exactly. And you know what I forgot, folks? I forgot. Here's my next legal legend because she's changing the game for so many and teaching so many how to do it because so many people are brain warped that there's just only a certain way that you can be a lawyer and practice law, and you are teaching them ways that they can do something different. I want to obviously your story is very, very different. It is one of hardship, tragedy. I have a degree in journalism, so I know everything. And I've watched, I did my research, and I have a question that off the bat. I mean, the first question I have is: you're born in Haiti. You have almost no accent.
actually, I was born in New York, but I grew up in
Okay.
Haiti. So when I went
Okay.
but it really doesn't change because I wasn't
Yeah.
speaking when I got to Haiti. My
Okay.
parents relocated when I was only 6 months old. So
Okay.
but the reason why I say that is because when it was time for me to leave Haiti, I already had the eagle on my passport, so I didn't have to do all of the
You don't go
paperwork.
through that.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
because some people wonder, like, how
Yeah.
did you do that? My mom, what she did every time she got pregnant, she made sure that by the time she was 7 months, she came to the United States, had the babies, and, and then went back. She was a smart woman.
Oh
And
wow.
so, yep. And so, yeah, I grew up in Haiti, and I don't know, the accent thing, I get asked that all the time. I grew up watching Oprah, Wheel of Fortune, The Price is Right.
In
And so
Haiti.
in Haiti, we had a
Okay.
handful of channels that we would watch. And so somehow, when I would watch that, I would just imitate the accent. And so, and we always spent the summers in New York. My grandmother lived in New York.
Okay.
And so we would
Okay.
spend 2 weeks every summer, at least 2 to 3 weeks in New York. And yeah, just that back and forth put me in touch with the English language. Obviously, most Haitians speak English. And my Spanish kind of I picked it up because of that, because of the
Hmm.
proximity with the Dominican Republic being next door.
Hmm.
I think I just have a little thing for languages, so that's where that came from.
No, I mean, it's this, my father-in-law was born in Haiti and he speaks English, but I mean, I went to high school in Little Haiti, Archbishop Curly Notre Dame High School in Little Haiti in Miami. Your English does not sound like anyone who was ever born in Haiti. I mean, it's just, you sound like an American born person, well,
But
technically.
if you piss me off real good, I can't even speak English, right? So it's like
Uh,
English like leaves, and then it's like that Creole wants to come out.
so
So
you learned English watching television.
I learned English watching television, traveling, watching Mr. Ed, Sister, these, these shows that, they were on TV back in the days. That's honestly how I picked up English. And then, of course,
Wow.
when we got to the high school level, we actually had English classes in school. Um, so that's how I picked it up. And yeah. And then, of
Well,
course, obviously, I went to college in New York,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
down here for law school. So I've been immersed in English for a while. So yeah.
Yeah, because he speaks like, I think, four languages. He speaks English, Spanish, Creole, and I think French
Most
and
of us
French.
do.
You
Because
know,
look, not only was the Dominican Republic next door, my
yeah.
father, his father, which I never met, but my grandfather was originally from Cuba. And so all
Oh,
of his brothers, they speak Spanish. And so I was one of those nosy kids that when they would speak Spanish, so we didn't understand. And you already know, once I
yes.
knew they were trying to do that, I was like locked in. And so that was just how that got picked up. And there was some times where my dad would be like, you want to learn how to speak Spanish. ¿Quieres hablar español? Okay, necesita hablar conmigo. And so I started doing that, and I was like, oh shit, I'm getting good.
Uh-huh.
So
Well, that's like, yeah, yeah. You go to get a pedicure, and all of a sudden it goes from English to Chinese or Japanese or whatever, and they're talking about your feet.
yeah, right, exactly. You know that for sure. So
They're talking
it's
about you somehow.
if you wanna learn it, you just get immersed in it. And I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, listen, whatever you want to learn, just heads down, immerse yourself in it. You can learn anything.
So you come here at 14. Your
No, I was
father,
actually,
your tw-
I went to New York a month shy of my 17th birthday. So 16 and a half, I guess.
your father passed away when you were 14.
When I was 14. Yeah. He was,
How
he
did how
was
did that shape your life and change the trajectory of your life?
so many ways.
Mhm.
So my father was like my idol. Like I looked up
Okay.
to him. I was a daddy's girl. And so
Yeah.
I watched him really, he was just this larger than life dude. He was
Mm.
like so good to people. He was a giver, and yet he had so many responsibilities. But my dad was one of those people that, although he had so much going on, he had his job, he had his restaurant and a tire company he was running, he had so many businesses,
Ah,
yet he had time for everybody, and he
mhm.
was able to give of himself. So I learned a lot from him about being multifaceted, about being open to people, and really channeling your various gifts and talents to be a contribution. So I learned that from him. His knack for business, definitely I definitely picked up, and I've applied that a lot. But also just experiencing what it's like when there is no justice system in an environment, was a big shaper for me in my life. My father was murdered brutally in Haiti. Everybody knew what happened. Everybody knew who did it, where it happened. And now, what is it? 20? What are we now? This is going to be his 27th year. or 26, I can't remember anymore. It's been a while, or 28 year. And justice still hasn't been served. And so that's what happens when you have a broken judicial system. And so that was another reason why, law came into my purview. Of course, everybody was always saying, you talk so much, you should be a lawyer, which, I do that. But it was one of those things that I just wanted to give a voice to the voiceless. And I feel like that's what he did throughout his life, even though he wasn't an attorney himself.
So, when this happens to you, you're 14 years old. I mean, obviously, the emotional component is traumatic as hell. I mean, my wife's mother died when she was 15. So it's something that I can't even comprehend. What happened during that time with you, your mother, and obviously was such a traumatic experience, because this is not just passing away. This is different.
No, this is earth shattering shit. Let's just leave it, let's put it that way. Overnight, my entire existence changed. My reality changed. I had a very charmed childhood, very quiet island childhood, go to the beach on the weekends, we're always having family dinners. We had a great life. Sometimes people are like, wow, you grew up in Haiti. Yeah, I had an amazing childhood in Haiti. Haiti was, whatever was happening in the country never got to us until it got to us, right? And so when that happened, I was forced to grow up overnight. My little brother was 5 years old, and my mother was completely disoriented. My dad took care of everything, and she was 40 and with 3 kids. My sister was 17, I was 14, and my brother was 5. And honestly, my dad took care of everything to the point where my mom didn't know where, she didn't know what the electric bill looked like. She didn't know where bank accounts were. Like, she she's like lost. I'm talking her entire center. And so something happens in a child when trauma like that happens. It's like it's something kicked into gear for me. And it was, I needed to co-parent my brother. It was clear. And I didn't have time to, putz around being a kid anymore. There was no teenage anymore. Like, I had to be an adult, and we had responsibilities. There's shit that has to get done. And she needed us, and I'm a middle child. So, there's something that happens in the middle child that, can't explain it, but it happened. And so I did that and grew up overnight, man. But also it was an automatic, I'm going to make my father proud no matter what, that started driving the narrative. It was, whatever I'm going to do is I'm going to make him proud, because it was like almost stepping into his shoes. And I think in many ways, I probably stepped into his shoes too much, where I ended up like becoming the man, you know what I mean? And in certain scenarios, but you know what I'm saying? I probably did a little too much of that, where I went on overdrive. And but only 2 years later, after he passed, I knew I couldn't stay in Haiti. I couldn't live in a place where, someone that was so great could lose his life the way he did, and justice not being served, and all those things. And so I moved to New York for college, and went there. And something you probably don't know, because I don't post that as much on social media, is I went to live with my maternal grandmother. And when I got there, she was 71 years old, and she was like, listen, I haven't had a kid here in a long time. So basically, one stroke, you're out. Like, my mom didn't even want me to leave. And so it was like, I had to really petition for her to help me get, the hell out of there. And so, she accepted me. I found a way to put myself in some high school, far from where I lived, because where I lived, the high school there, they had metal detectors. And that was
where were you living? Where was it that you went to
live? I was in Jamaica, Queens, and Cambria Heights. And the school there was Jackson High, and Jackson High had metal detectors. And I had been in an all-girl Catholic school my whole life, and I was like, I'm not gonna get shanked. I am not doing that. So I found a school in Fresh Meadows that I had to take 2 buses in the morning to go to, and it was all Chinese and Indian kids there. I was like one of 5 Black kids in that school. I'm just saying, like I was trying to survive New York. New York was rough. It was cold. It was different. And only a year into living in New York, my house caught on fire and my grandmother didn't make it. So
What?
yeah. So it was rough in the beginning.
Wait. So what? you- I don't even have. What did you do then? I mean, your grandmother passes away in a fire.
So
A couple months into you moving there?
well, actually, it was about a year because I graduated. I went
Uh-huh.
in August 1999 and started college in September of 2000, and the house caught on fire in November. So just 2 months into my first year in college, and
And
so
were you still living with her?
I actually I was living between her and campus. So I was living on campus. I'd gotten a scholarship that required me to stay on campus.
Okay.
And so I would be on campus during the week, and on the weekends I would be there. And because it was only 10 minutes away from school anyways. But that night I had company over, and so I told her, I'll just come in the morning, and overnight there was a fire.
Oh my
Got
God.
so I know that was supposed to go down this way because if I had been there, but we had to I had to recover from that as well.
And this is your mother's mother,
Yeah,
and she's in Haiti still, and you have to call her now in Haiti and let her know this.
all the things. Yeah,
Uh, so your brother and sister were still in Haiti as well.
yeah, they were, and so
So
and
your
then
brother's here now. I know that. I've seen you with your
yeah,
tennis
my brother's here
and all that.
now. So a few years after that happened, he was just like, "You got to come get me out of here. Mom's depressed. Like I need, like I got to get out of here." Because he's in this big house with her, and she's just not doing well. So then I went down to Haiti, grabbed them. They moved to New York with me, and
All of
you
them?
know,
Your mom, your brother, and your
well, my
sister?
sister got married and she was having her
Oh,
life
okay.
there. So my mom and brother came, and so, did that. And my mom still lives in New York. My brother ended up becoming NYPD in New York. And after the whole, Black Lives Matter and all the things that happened in New York City, and it was just really rough for him as a rookie, cop that
Mm.
really was just doing his best, just trying to survive the new position. I convinced him to really consider coming down here. It was like, it's calmer, and we could play tennis more often. And so so he's been here now, a few years, and it's amazing. I love having him, and my sister recently moved here too. So we're all here, and it's amazing.
Is he a police officer down here as well?
Yeah, he's in Coral Springs Police.
So if I'm in Coral Springs, I got to know who to call. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. He'll take care of you.
So you go to Adelphi,
Adelphi University, yeah, Long Island.
Adelphi, and you're living and working in New York. Um,
Concrete
you
jungle.
and you're obviously it's different than it is down here. Clearly, it's cold, as you mentioned. There's no forgiveness in New York. I mean, that song is really the truth. Concrete jungle where dreams are, that song is true. If you can
But if you
survive
can
in New
make
York
it
City,
there,
to
you can
me,
really make it anywhere for sure.
yeah. I whenever I hear that song, and I love New York
Boulevard now,
City. I remember my cousins were from Westchester, outside the Bronx,
right?
and I remember my cousin wanted to live in New York, in Manhattan. He wanted to live in Manhattan after his family moved down to Coral Gables. He wanted to go back and live in Manhattan. He goes back and lives in Manhattan. This is in the '90s, late '90s, and he said his apartment, they said, it was like 400 square feet. You'd walk in the door you're in if you walk in, you're in the kitchen. You take a step to the left, you're in the bathroom. You take a
Yeah.
step up, you're in the living room. You take a step further up, you're in the dining room, and then you take a step to the left, you're in the bedroom. Like,
Okay.
and for $2,500 a month,
Yeah,
twenty
that's
five
New
hundred
York.
bucks a month. and he did it for like 2 years, I think, something like that, and got his ass back down here.
Yeah.
$2,500 a month for a closet, living to work, not oh no working. I don't know if it was working to live. It was like I got to go to work because I'm work all
Everything
the
is
time.
it's survival. New York is a
Yeah.
survival state, and I mean, of course, there are people who thrive in New York, but for those of us
Yeah.
who had to really start from the bottom, it's a very rough place to operate from. And for me, after I lost my grandmother, she was kind of like my only source of financial support. I was taking 18 credits, holding down
A
three jobs,
lot.
you know and so I didn't have the college experience. I didn't have the luxury of partying and smoking pot all day. Like some of my
The college experience. Let's get high.
I was a grown up in college.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
was a full blown grown up. I had responsibilities. I had to put, I had to feed myself. I had to put gas in my car. I had things to do. I was on a scholarship, thank God. As far as my
You had a
tuition.
you had a car in New York.
Oh, I had to. I lived on Long Island. I
Ah,
was,
okay.
so
Okay. Gotcha.
I had to. I bought a hoopty for $700. And the thing is, when
Wait.
I bought
You know,
that hoop,
when we do that clip, you just sounded New York. You
yeah.
just
So
sounded so New
listen,
York. I
yeah,
bought
'cause
that hoopty for $700.
so that little hoopty, when I pulled out, I was on Ditmars Boulevard, pulling out, from this garage where I bought it, and it had the motor mount was gone. So
It
every
was
time I
shaking.
accelerated, nah, fuck that. If it shook, it would have been better. Every time I hit the gas, the motor would literally hit the hood. So I couldn't hit it too hard, so the hood didn't fly into my windshield. So just so you know where this chick started. So when I'm here flossing, doing my thing, listen, just let me do what I do, okay? I've had some serious humble beginnings. But yes, I did have a car, and that's my Ford
Do,
Taurus,
do,
my blue
do,
Ford Taurus story.
do you have a pic? Do you have a picture of it?
No, actually, I wish I had a picture of that car. But listen, that car,
Uh,
I transported so many things from, even the little desk that I had to put together in my basement apartment came, hauled into that. We have stories, that car and I.
is that the car that brought you to South Florida?
No, what brought me to South Florida was busting my ass off the train. I came out the train one day. I was going to go to work. So right after graduating, I got this job in Manhattan, and my ex-husband had proposed. So we were planning a wedding. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a year off before going to law school. And I was taking the train into the city every day, 57th and 5th, got off, was walking into into the building. And one morning, and I hated it. I hated the rats. I hated the cold. I hated my life. Okay. I had already done what I came to New York to do. I'd finished college. So like I was on overtime now. Like I needed to get the heck out of there. And I walked out of the train station. And as I'm walking to the office, I slip on ice and I bust my ass. And I'm pissed, and I'm pissed. So my whole side is wet. I get up, and then I'm trying to and the wind is cutting my face, and I'm trying to get to the front door. And I have this moment with myself. I'm like, why do I live here? Why do I even live here? I'm like, the wind is cutting my face. And so when I got home, at the time I was engaged, and I was like, listen, I'm going to apply for law school, and I'm only applying in Florida. So if you're down, we can keep this thing going. If you're not coming, you can take your ring back. I'm not staying here. Because he was a through and through New Yorker. I met him in college there. He played ball in New York, and his family was in New York. So I was like, let's just make it clear. Because, I ain't staying here. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, by the following year, I was at Nova Law, and I was right here in sunny South Florida.
How did that feel to finally get out of there and be back to warm climate like Haiti,
like
tropical
regular
environment?
Human programming? Yes. It was just, I'm an island girl. That's what I'm used to. so finally my eczema started letting up, like all the, because I developed everything. My skin was like, what is this? And so I could finally get back to my regular weight and all the things, because you hibernate in New York so much. It's like, you're like, you want to go out? No, it's 20 degrees outside. No, I don't want to go out. Why would you want to go out? You know what I mean? I was that person. I was like, I was salty being there. And so coming here was just it was what my soul needed. And then so I did my 3 years in law school, graduated, and I sat for the Florida bar in July of 2008. And
Mhm.
I was waiting. The results were supposed to come out in September of 2008. And in August 2008, I found out I had passed a pregnancy test before I found out if I had passed the bar exam. So I was like, oh, this was not supposed to happen. And so when I had my son, I didn't really want to go back to work because I wanted to be mom now. But I needed money because Sally Mae wanted her money back. I took loans for law school. That was a different story. I
Oh,
didn't get scholarships for
yeah.
that. And I really didn't
Sally
want
Mae wanted her money.
yeah.
Sally
Oh, she
wanted her
wanted
money.
me that immediately. And I was like, okay. So because I wanted some flexibility and freedom, and this is where the unconventional aspect of my life really took hold. I didn't want to go back to work in law because of what it required, the constant presence in the office and all the things. And so a woman walked up to me at a Target and offered me a facial at Mary Kay Cosmetics one day. And I said, a facial? Okay, sure. She came and she was trying to sell me the products. And I was like, lady, I'm not buying anything. Just tell me how do you make money? And she explained the business to me. And that day I bought a starter kit with Mary Kay Cosmetics for $100. And I always say I bought my freedom for $100 because I started this beauty business that kept me home with my kid. I was doing facials for women, fully licensed as an attorney. I had passed the bar and had my license, and I was doing that. Made my first six figures doing that. Drove my pink Cadillac to court, and that's what funded my law firm. And so when people ask me, like, how did you get that wisdom to do the virtual? I was doing a direct sales business out of home, making six figures. So why the hell wouldn't that work for a law firm? And I had products. With the law firm, it's just a service. So why would I need the brick and mortar? And
So,
because of the lifestyle I wanted to continue to live, the brick and mortar would be just a hindrance to what I wanted. So, yeah.
so Mary Kay Cosmetics. I mean, so many people are involved in. I guess what do they call it? They're like MLMs, right?
Right.
Multi-level marketing, and so many people are petrified of these types of things because they're
Right.
like, it's like you do this, you bring somebody else on, and they other people, and then the idea is, I guess, they sell, and then you make money as well. How did you make that work? Because I mean, you hear stories about all these different MLMs that exist. You made that type, and you won a car.
Three, actually. The pink Cadillac was my third car.
You
I
won these cars based on your
my
numbers.
performance. I mean, the first year I was in
Wow.
Mary Kay, I did 400K of sales with my team. And so, they reward you for selling. So people call it MLM. I mean, I call it direct sales because it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
instead of paying for marketing, they take that money and they pay it in commissions to women who are out there sharing the product. And so, so sidebar, while I lived in New York, I worked as a saleswoman at a car dealership at some point. And so,
Really?
listen, I could sell you dirty underwear and you will think that. Okay. Listen. So
So
I am.
you definitely resonate with sell me this pen
Oh,
from
absolutely.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Write this shit down and then tell me if you don't fucking need a pen. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I also understood that, and Mary Kay really reinforced that if sales is nothing more than finding a need and filling it, right? But you
Yeah.
have to have the person become aware that they have a need, and it's just doing that. And so for me, it was just an easy thing because it was a good product as well.
Hmm.
It's just
Okay.
like when I don't have to sell myself hard. If you need something, I provide a solution. I just have to, fill in that gap. And so that's what I did. And it just, because of how I did it and the framing of it, I sold a lot of products. I brought people on and they sold a lot of products because they were just following how I was training them. And one of the things that being on that platform did for me, it had me get in touch with another side of me, which is empowerment. I didn't know that I had a knack for empowering women. I didn't know that I had a knack for teaching. I didn't know that people learn differently when I teach it. So a lot of women would end up in my meetings and I'm like, your director has a meeting every, let's say, Wednesday. Why are you in my Tuesday meeting? And they're like, I don't know, man. When you say it, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Hey.
so and so I was like, maybe I have something there. And so I always say life doesn't happen to you; it happens for you. Life will inform you of what it is you could shine in. And I've been a student of my life and realized that all the things that have happened and all the people who have come in and out of my life, and all the situations that have occurred have really shaped me to be who I am. And I'm just leveraging all of those facets and sides of me to do what I do today.
But you have to make it happen. I mean, so many people talk about it. Like there was always. I mean, there's a couple of sayings that I remember. I know there's the Clark Atlanta. Their motto or slogan is "Find a way or make one."
Right.
And another one is I hear a lot and that I always thought, but don't talk about it, be about it. Like, you have to do it. And people talk, 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 talk. And one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast, um, I wanted to obviously help people who I work with in any which way I can with marketing, helping them with marketing, however you want to utilize videos that we do and tell your story. Because I think my dad was a lawyer. And if I met my dad, I'm like, this guy's the meanest SOB on earth. Like he
Right.
was like I was his son. It was like military because he was in the military, came from Cuba at 16, the whole nine. And I'm a spoiled brat American, you know, and and
Self
so
self-declared.
yeah, oh yeah, spoiled brat, unappreciative. You don't know what the hell you got. I had to do this, 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 and this. I'm 16 and I'm working at Western Union riding a bicycle in 1961 and all this stuff. And I heard all the stories, and it took getting older to realize that I was an absolute spoiled brat, and I can acknowledge it and accept it. you know. But people don't know there's a massive human side to doctors, lawyers. You didn't just become that. You didn't just get it. Just didn't just happen. You had
Right.
to. And a lot of lawyers that I know have gone through some serious crap and had to make decisions that changed their course in life. And I think that's what I find special is that this is special. Like this is a story that I'm not anyone that have the story like this yet. This is a very special story because I've never met anyone who actually did Mary Kay well. Like that's remarkable. I know people that have tried it and like, and I can't do this, and the fact that you did that, it just like that's a skill, high level skill to me. Maybe to you it's not. It was natural, but to me that's
Well,
a high
again,
level
I
because
think
I've tried to do those. I've tried to do things like that, and I'm like, man, I don't even know what to do.
yeah. I think that with Mary Kay, because of where I was in my life, like I had to make it work.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those, if my back's against the wall, I'm coming out swinging. So I'm going to make it work. I am a find a way, make a way through, under, over. I don't give a shit how I'm going to do it. It's going to get done,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm also the kind of person that and that's been a blessing for me. I'm pure ignorance on fire. I will jump out of the plane and figure and be like, yo, we don't have a parachute. Fuck, we got to build one.
I gotta take
Like,
my
what
shirt
do
off
you
and
have?
put my shirt into a
What do
pair.
you have? Let's build, I'll build a plane on the way down type of person,
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
but to your point with regards to you know, finding a way and making a way, and you know, not letting up. I'm very aware of how much I'm on borrowed time. I don't
Mhm.
take today lightly.
Mhm.
You know, I'm 42. My dad was murdered when he was 42. So I'm super aware of the fact that I'm getting days that are that he didn't have, right?
Yeah.
So this is not a dress rehearsal. We are live. I know a lot of people let fear stop them. They have these noises in their heads about what's going to go wrong and all this stuff. I don't indulge in all of that because I know that life is just, it's a playground for me to try things, fail. I'm supposed to fail. I'm okay with failing. I don't, you know, I don't have a problem messing up. I don't have a problem. My ego has probably died, you know, so many years ago, understanding, you know, that life is really not that serious. So you just kind of go at it, give it your best shot. And no one will ever be able to say that she didn't try, you know, and there are many things that I've tried and, you know, had to struggle to get there. Nothing was easy, but it was all worth it, and who I became on the other side, um you know, this is the product. And so I think the it's so important for people to realize, you know, whatever ideas you have, whatever you know, if you have a business idea, a project, something you want to try, just fucking try it, go for it. You will never know what it could be until you go for it and give it your all, because you
Mhm.
will never also know what you're made of until you go after it. I found out a lot of things about myself just going after things.
Mhm. So you did marry Kay, and then what made you finally decide to? I'm gonna actually start my law practice now
Well,
because you were
I
loyal
started the practice really, you know,
simultaneously.
simultaneously. So I was in Mary Kay a few months, and then I started utilizing the funds that I was generating from that to, you know, set up certain things, get my flyers. I had like these flyers that I just blasted everywhere. That was how I, and let me
These
tell you
kids
something.
today, these kids today don't know that
Let
we
me
had
tell you, that was
flyers
my
back then.
original. The original marketing plan of Vaval Law was 5,000 flyers. They were. It cost me $150, and then
Yes.
and it was my picture, and you had to see the areas of practice. It was foreclosure, dog bite, fucking like
It was
probate,
everything.
door law, and the
Door
irony
law.
that I didn't even have a fucking door. But anyways, the
Door law.
irony, right?
Yes.
But literally I went to the Haitian restaurants, the barber shops, the Jamaican spots. Like I put these flyers everywhere, and guess what? My phone has never stopped ringing. And I gave service, because one thing I learned in New York is customer service, and here in Florida it is not the same. So when you give service, people will come back to you. They will be walking billboards. And I knew that what I gave was different. It was special. I love on people differently. And so that's what I did. And, you know, I started doing some immigration work in the community because, you know, I'm from Haiti. It was easy. And then
Mhm.
I was doing some family work. But the thing is, people don't realize that every time I went to a Mary Kay party and had a group of, whether it was 6, 8, 10 women, guess what I did? Hi, my name is Kara. During the day, I'm an attorney, and you know, and so everybody had a case. You know, everybody. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody had a case. Everybody had somebody. So between my flyers and my Mary Kay parties, I got really busy really fast with the law firm. And
Yeah.
so then when I had my daughter 5 years into being a Mary Kay director, I had to make a decision because it was just I couldn't do both. I literally could no longer do both.
Did you retire from Mary Kay?
I did. So they had to come pick up the pink Cadillac and
Wait, they take it back?
well, if you're no longer going to be
But
working with them,
I thought you won it. Didn't you win it?
well, you so the way it is they leased a car for you. You go pick it up. They're
Ah.
making the payments. They pay the insurance until, you know, and so you have to keep a
Oh,
production up.
gotcha.
And if you
Gotcha.
don't keep that production, at some point, you no longer earn the car. So I earn the car, but they don't buy it and give it to you.
Ah,
You know,
gotcha,
they
gotcha,
pay
gotcha.
for it, and then so eventually, you know, the production dwindled because I wasn't putting any more energy
Yeah.
into it. And they took the car, and that was that.
So do you have a pink Cadillac now, or you were no more pink
No,
Cadillac?
no, 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 no. I have a Porsche now.
Is it pink?
Hell no. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So
No,
yeah,
no.
man, it was just an incredible season in my life, and I am who I am today because of that. I recently did this coaching session for a couple gals who own this amazing business in our industry, and a lot of the trainings that I do is stuff that I learned when I was in Mary Kay. So,
Mhm.
and it's great business. Mary Kay is like going for an MBA. I always say it's
Yeah.
a woman should be
True.
a
It
Mary
might be
Kay.
more. It's more than that to me because I went for an MBA and
Yeah,
I
no,
learned all
Mary Kay is juice, man. I'll never and until this day, the best friends that I have came out of my starter kit till this day. So yeah, it was a good
So
experience.
you you work primarily from wherever you are.
Yeah,
You don't go to an office. It might
no,
be your balcony, your living room, a Starbucks, wherever
beach,
the heck you are.
the pool.
Talk. You have webinars. I see like one that just passed. I guess
Yeah, I do a lot
last
of
week.
stuff.
We got. How often do you do webinars? I saw you did a retreat for
Yes.
women. What was that experience like? Because I know that was big. You
Oh,
had been
that
posting on that.
was
What was that experience for you?
yes. So
And
so
how'd
I've
that come
been
to pass? How'd it come? How'd that happen?
Well, let me tell you. So I've been doing the laptop lifestyle lawyer
Mhm.
thing since COVID, right? And I
Yeah.
love it. I love working with women lawyers. I love helping them see themselves in ways they didn't see themselves before, making money they didn't think they could make, getting them into the pre-suit PI business, having them really structure their firm in a way that it's high cash flow and low time investment. That's my model, and that's what's been my life for all these years, and it works. But I do have a little bit more to me because I've had other life experiences. Like I've had to heal from a divorce, I've had to heal from losing parents, and I'm losing a parent, and my grandmother, and having to deal with losing even your self-worth and stuff like that, because when you lose
Mhm.
a parent, you get disoriented big time. And
Mhm.
if your self-worth was attached to any of what you thought you were, it becomes very challenging to find your north again. And so I have a lot to share on that front as well. And so the retreat was just, I had come home from a seminar that I went to in October, and I sat on my bed and I was just like, I would love to facilitate something for women to come and heal some shit. Like things that are just holding them back, that they're not
Yeah.
even seeing, they're not even realizing. And I sat on my bed and literally wrote an outline for a retreat. And then I put a list of women that I thought would enjoy it, and I called them up and they all signed up. And I was like, okay, so it's sold out. All right, so now we're gonna Airbnb, because this is an overnight thing. So
Yeah.
I go
Yeah.
on Airbnb trying
Mhm.
to find a house that sleeps 10 people. And then it came together, and it was magical. And it was the first time that I did something that the more I was doing it, the more energized I was getting. And holding space for women to just be able to, let some shit go. It's like an emotional colonic. And so being able to facilitate that, they all left lighter. I left lighter. And the best part is I left knowing myself, differently. Like I had a different level of respect for myself for
Mhm.
facilitating. And so that's something that I am adding to my repertoire of services that I offer. In addition to the laptop lifestyle lawyer stuff, this year I'll be doing more of these kinds of retreats. And just, man, when a woman feels herself, when she gets rid of some garbage, because we get
Mhm.
a lot of stuff gets projected onto us. Parents tell you
Mhm.
you can't, or even clergymen, or educators put limitations on you. And then and it's like, that's their limitation, that's not yours. And really helping them see that that's not yours, give it back to whoever it belongs to. And then now You're free to do all these things that you didn't think you could do because somebody said something that's invalid.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
How many of those do you want to do per year?
I don't know, maybe once a quarter. I have a
Mm.
bunch of girls that are waiting for me to come to New York to host one, and
Oh,
I'm
really? Wow.
yeah, because once I started posting it, everybody's like, "Oh my God, you got to come do this for us." You do is virtual. It's needed,
Hmm.
and I do
Virtual.
it.
I don't think it's the same
No,
virtual. I think
I would do it.
you need
This
that.
is
You need to be in a together space and stuff
yeah,
like
and
that.
so that's what I'm up to, and I'm looking forward to how this is gonna take shape. I'm not attached to anything happening any which way. I'm doing what I need to do, and it's literally the demand is there. People need a safe space to be human. Women want to be able to be human, but with people that they can trust, because
Hmm.
some of the things that we need to unpack, we can't unpack it with our spouse. We can't unpack it with our parents. We can't unpack it even with some of our close friends. It has to be in an environment where because life be lifing, we all take on shit over years. So if you
Hmm.
don't get rid of them, you continue to carry that with you. And when you're lighter, then you can create so much more, and from a more empowered space. So
How many women would you say you've worked with since you've been doing this? The whether it's the, I guess I would call it almost mentoring, um, teaching, etc. Like who have
I mean, if I'm going to add
adopted.
from Mary Kay, thousands of women. I mean, it's been a lot. But
Okay.
if we're talking about uh, just a laptop lifestyle lawyer, and just hundreds of women,
Wow.
and I've done one-on-one coaching. I've done, obviously do courses with me. I've done 6-week programs. I've done so many different things.
Hmm.
I speak, I go on podcasts, I host a podcast. So these conversations are ongoing. And so, I probably touch people that I don't even know that I've touched because they've listened to a recording or a video. And that's the beauty of, today, with social media, is that some of the stuff we do lives on, and you don't know who's watching. You might have somebody who comes and watches this podcast that you put out, and they're in a different continent. And then it changes their life, changes their perspective. So that's why, I commanded you at the beginning doing this,
Thank
because
you.
it has impact that's greater than you and greater than
I
me.
That'd be great. I hope that people enjoy, even if they take one tip from it. I mean, I've had this is I think I've done this 6 times. I have a few that are on recording that I haven't published yet. And it does take time, a lot of time actually, because I want to make it where it's worth it for you as well, and provide you with clips and stuff that if you want to use it, you can use it and all that good stuff. But you know, if you people can get tips from what you say as well. I mean, because you're obviously working with women across the country, not just in Florida,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Yeah.
across the country. I mean, one of my students who's kicking butt, like butt, is in Arkansas. And, yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Demetra Willow, she's amazing. And, there's so many of them. I mean, I have them here. I have them, they're everywhere. Chicago, I have some lawyers in Massachusetts. I have lawyers, I mean, Georgia, forget about it. Yeah.
When do you practice law? When do you have the
Oh,
time?
queen. But that's the thing, because of
Yeah.
how I have my law firm structured. Don't forget, I'm a
Yeah.
pre-suit business for the most
Yes.
part. The
Okay.
majority of my litigation, if it's something that I know I can resolve quick, then I keep it in house. But I offload that. So
Hmm.
between my case managers and myself, I'm in my lane. I know what my job is here. I'm
Yeah.
the one who closes. I'm negotiating. I'm doing. I know what I do, and then the
Yeah.
rest, the
And
stuff
now
that
and now it's just PI. You don't take on immigration or anything like that. It's
100%
all
PI. I
PI.
don't do anything else. 100%
Hmm.
PI. And so, my clients are treating most of the time, and then when it's time for me to do my lawyering thing, I do my lawyering thing. But in between, I have nothing but time. Listen.
So I saw a video you posted yesterday. Actually, looks like you have an in-home gym that you built
I
is
do.
in your garage, or I guess it's in your garage. I presume it's in your garage.
It's in my
Um,
garage.
and you had some message for women. I guess
Uh-huh.
people, but women, and you're drenched, and that self care and obviously a lot of things that affect us, and this is men too. I don't know a man that likes being, for lack of better words, fat. I don't think anyone likes being unhealthy. I'd like to not. I wish Raising Cane's had like 1 calorie, um, and not
I'm telling you,
4,000.
my son loves
Yeah.
that place.
Oh, I love it too. Oh my god! You know when I first had it, I had it up in Ohio. I was there for New Year's a couple years ago. I had it in Ohio, and then I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever." At Ohio State, and I went to Florida State for a year and a half. And they had Guthrie's. I don't know if you've ever had Guthrie's before,
No.
but like we didn't have that. Like we had no form of chicken tenders and this ultra fattening mayonnaise mixed sauce or what have you. And I just was like, oh my god! And then they built one down here, and they have one in Homestead. They have one in Miami Beach. And they have one in Pompano. I don't know if they have any other in Boynton as well. They built one from like, but I knew what was going to happen. 5 minutes from my house. And I've probably been there 35 times over the past 300 days, which is way too many. And my kids love it. But when you talk about taking time to also take care of yourself, because I have lost some. I was 240. My wife got pregnant, so I got pregnant, and I got really, I got fat, I fattened up again, and I started feeling miserable. Like
Right.
just none of my custom suits fit anymore. Like I can't even put them on.
Right.
It's like I got these things customized for my body, and I can't even wear them now. They're like, it's like, have you ever seen the movie Tommy Boy?
No.
James Brown, fat guy in a little coat, like, and then it splits down the back. That's what I felt like. I felt like the fat guy in a little coat, and I've lost weight, and I got to get back to 245. That's where I'm most comfortable. But talk about how that plays a role for even in what you teach, because obviously, like I said, no one feels comfortable being overweight. I don't care what anyone
Well,
says,
for me, honestly, Rudy, it's so not about the weight as,
or out of breath walking up the stairs.
and it's not even about that. It for
Okay.
me, it's about the it's about taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's about prioritizing how I feel. And yes, it does end up, I end up not being out of breath going up the stairs because I'm in shape.
Yeah.
But it's taking care of my body and making myself a priority. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a priority for myself, then my standards have changed as a result. I
Mm-hmm.
don't put just anything in my body because I'm taking care of this body. So it changed what I eat. It changes the fact, like, I don't consume alcohol like I used to. I used to pound bottles of wine because is what I did. And now it just, for what it causes my body to go through, I
Mm-hmm.
choose not to do that. I choose not to entertain certain conversations because it's just not in alignment with the quality of being that I'm being, right?
Yeah.
I'm not in certain environments anymore just because I'm investing so much time in myself that the standards change. And so, and my confidence level change, and I'm stronger. And I'm 42 years old, and I understand that, muscles is what you need as you get older, because you start losing it. So
Mm-hmm.
so the pains don't start creeping in and all the things. I have to do this as a maintenance of this one, because it's not like you can go in a dealership and trade this fucking body. This is the one you got. Then you're gonna have it. This is the one you're gonna have until you check out of here. So
Yeah.
maintenance and taking care of it, is your responsibility. No one's gonna come do it for you, right? And I feel like when I work out, it's, I don't know if it's the whatever endorphins or whatever the hell gets released. I'm in another space at the end. I'm going into the day, already jazzed up. My attitude is positive. I believe in myself because I just pumped, weight that I didn't even think I could finish, but then I did. So it's like I ate that. So I'm going to eat everything during the day because,
Mm-hmm.
this is how my day started. And how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you show up into that gym and you crush it, then it's just an inevitable train, what is it, like a train of events or whatever, that you're going
Yeah.
to crush the next thing and the next thing, because that's already how you showing up for the day. And so to me, I think women can easily put that in their arsenal as something to give them a leg up on the day, because we got so much going on. I'm a single mom, and so it's like I have the law firm, I have my business, and then I have my kids. My son, both my kids are in jujitsu, and they have, a
Wow.
gazillion things that they're up to. I play a lot of tennis. I'm now these women are trying to recruit me into this tennis team, and I'm like, I don't have the time. But because of the fact that I'm consistently investing in myself, I can draw from that and go after the day. So it to me and it just, man, it changes my attitude about me. Like I love me some me, and I I really do. um
Uh-huh.
and this is coming from like the most humble place, because I've had times where I wasn't my biggest fan, and so I appreciate myself, and I take care of myself in the way that only I know how to.
So your kids are in jujitsu. Do they watch MMA and UFC and stuff like that because they're doing
No, they
jujitsu?
don't watch it. My son was in soccer, got injured, and I
What
told
happened? What happened to him?
torn ACL. He was playing soccer,
Oh,
had to get
Jesus.
surgery,
Oh my
and
God.
he wanted to go back. And I was like, "You can." I was trying to hustle him into doing the whole tennis thing. He plays, but not as much. But one thing I wanted for him was, to know how to handle somebody if they come at him, because I think, you have a different confidence when you know that you can handle the room. So I told him, I was
Mhm.
like, I need you to give me a year at least. If you love it, you could stay with it. But there's just certain things that I think parents, if they can give it to kids, like a good
Mhm.
fight, they need to have. They need to, tennis or golf, because you do business there, right? You need to know how to ski. Like there's some shit that I need you to know how to do so that you can manage life when I'm not here. You know what I mean?
You just
And
say you got to know how to ski. We live in freaking 85
oh, but
degrees,
guess
12
what?
months a year.
I took my kids to Vail, and now my son, he's like telling me, "Mom, ski week is coming up." He's a rich kid, so he
Yeah,
wants to
yeah,
go. I didn't have that,
you're creating that
but
mom.
I want that for them, because I would not want the opportunity to present itself that there is a ski trip where a business trip is happening and that he doesn't know how to do it.
I understand.
So at the very minimum, those are the things that I want in his arsenal, and then the rest
You
you
know,
could go figure out yourself.
you're gonna get soon. Mommy, can I get $300 for because of
No,
Hillary Banks?
it don't
Like
work like that.
no,
Because
like no.
I'm also always emphasizing it's my
Uh-huh.
money. Okay, it's not our money. You know, I'm the rich lady. You're just the rich lady's kids. Okay, so I'm the one who's working. I'm the one who's doing. So I'm choosing to invest this in you, but it's not your money. So don't
Mhm.
even get it
You know,
twisted.
what's funny is I grew up in sports. I grew up playing baseball. I grew up playing basketball. I did karate as a younger kid, and then I always loved football, but my parents were afraid of injuries and stuff like that. Eventually they relented. I played high school football. You play tackle at the park, but it's like they don't realize I'm playing tackle at the park.
Right,
Pads actually make it more safe,
right.
technically. And never got hurt with pads. I got hurt without pads. And so, when but I never, my dad was from Cuba. Golf, golf. He's like, the hell is that?
Yeah,
I grew up playing tennis. I love tennis. I grew
yeah.
up in the Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras era.
Same.
This new generation, I watch it. Women's tennis is more interesting to me than men's because I think it's kind of boring just to watch ace, 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 ace,
Right,
ace. And no one, I mean, 140 miles per hour. I'm sorry, most people can't hit the ball back.
right,
And especially if you place it properly, you have to forget about it.
right, right, right.
But golf was that one sport per se that my uncle loved, and I'm like, wait, did you just turn off the football game for the Masters or some golf tournament on Sunday? Are you on drugs? And they all loved golf. All the guys from New York, my uncles from New York, and the one that wanted to live in Manhattan, all that, his sons. And I was never into it. And then I go to this golf event. You know the guy. You might know the guys. I mean, Josiah Graham is a board member of
Yeah,
the Urban Golf
the
Weekend.
urban golf
And
league.
I
Yeah.
went to the first one. I don't know how to play golf, but I can play miniature golf. I went in, and here's the crazy part. I went and I bought golf clubs within that week after that. And I'm like, I am going to learn to play golf. And then my wife got pregnant somehow. I don't know how that happened. Um,
I wonder
and
how.
so I don't know how it happened. And yet I bought them for both of us. And those golf clubs have not been touched since.
Well, you'll get back to it. You'll get back
Never,
to
no,
it.
they're never
You
touched.
know, my tennis racket was up until I picked it back up. It's one of those things that once you know it and you're
But
into
I
it,
still don't know it because I never
well,
actually
you'll learn
used
it.
them. But it's like I got these clubs because that was the conversation. It was like a lot of lawyers play golf.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I gotta learn to play this damn sport. I wish they all played tennis because I prefer tennis.
Well,
'Cause
I do. I mean, I listen. Do you know how
tennis
much
is fun.
business I've gotten on the tennis court?
When did you get into tennis?
Well,
Because like, you play a lot, huh?
my dad was a tennis player, so when I
Oh,
was a
okay.
kid, we always went to be the ball boy in the boys' club.
Ah, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
I
Okay,
grew up on the tennis court. You know,
gotcha. Okay.
even when my dad passed, there was the tennis club that he belonged to had a
Hmm.
had a tournament, and the cup was my dad's name. It was a cup in his name.
Oh, wow.
So to show you how much playing,
Okay.
I
So
grew up.
you grew up in
I
tennis.
grew up
Okay.
on the tennis court. And
Okay.
so, but I didn't play for years because, school and
Life.
we played tennis in New York. I couldn't afford to play tennis in New York, even if I wanted to. But then when my son was about, I want to say 6, so about 10 years ago, I put him in a tennis camp, summer camp.
Hmm.
And so then the ladies there were just like, oh, you should come to these. We have clinics. So every time I would drop them off, I started seeing all these ladies and I got invited to these clinics. And I just, I went ahead and bought another racket and I just got back in. And it was like I never left. And I was like, why did
Hmm.
I stop doing this?
Hmm.
Man, like
Yeah.
it's so therapeutic. It beats going on somebody's couch for $300 an hour. You know what I'm saying? I can go on and like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's so therapeutic. And so for me, it's like my meditation. And then I
Hmm.
go with my brother and we
Yeah.
talk so much shit,
Who
so,
wins? Who wins? Who wins?
oh,
Can you hear me?
actually, both of us, but
Uh,
sometimes it depends. Sometimes he has a streak, sometimes I have a streak. So we both, but he's better than me. He's better than me because he played longer than me as a kid. He
uh-huh.
took he had oh, speaking of, he's calling me. That's so funny.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, he's amazing, and the it's just the bonding time over talking shit is priceless,
Hmm.
and we say things to each other that are not nice, but it's like in a lot of love, so. And so I kind of got my sister to start, and she doesn't have as much passion for it, so it's really
Hmm.
just him and I. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I do enjoy tennis. I just what do you think of what do you think of the new I call it the fake tennis
Oh, the pickleball,
pickleball
and they try to pick.
pickleball.
I'm like, bro, get out of here. You're not an athlete.
I looked at it like these are people that don't know who can't play tennis, who
Correct.
and then they decide they want to do
Yeah,
this,
they can't get me in.
but then on top of that, I have seen that people that are playing pickleball are popping Achilles tendons left and right because they're not in the condition to be doing it because
Right.
it's like I think it's a little bit more fast twitch because it's like
Yeah, you're like
and their
this.
bodies are not there. And then
Yeah,
it's my chief business officer popped his Achilles playing pickleball. I know
that's
of at least 4 people that popped their Achilles playing pickleball. I will not
that's
play
a sucky
pickleball
way.
for crap.
Listen, that's a sucky way to pop an Achilles. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not even worth it. Like it's not.
You're
There's no.
barely running. You're just moving like from left to right, like.
No, I'm not into it. I've got people try recruiting me. People try to sell it to me. Yes, you're gonna love it. There's clubs and I'm good. I like to play tennis. I'm a tennis player. That's the sport, and that's that. I'm good.
I play real tennis, not this fake
I play
tennis.
real tennis, and I'm sticking to real tennis.
Pickleball reminds me of when you were on the beach as a kid and you had those little rackets with the blue ball and you're hitting it back and forth to each other.
Right. Yeah, like almost like badminton or something. Like
Yeah.
something that nobody plays. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
Oh boy, oh boy. So what is the perfect injury case for you? Is there a
I
specific
mean, there's no
area?
such
Because
thing as perfect.
you were telling me about cases that you're seeing a lot of that I never ever thought of.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that you want to talk about that real
Oh,
quick. And
sure.
yeah, like
So
those cases
because
that
a
you
lot of
said you're
people
seeing, they don't know about it.
they don't well they I think they just don't realize how much value these cases have.
Hmm.
I've been doing these wax injury cases now for a few years, and actually it was a mom of one of my clients who, it was a big slip and fall case that I had, and then she ended up getting injured, getting a Brazilian wax, and came to me. And she actually didn't even think she had a case, but because it was me, she felt comfortable bringing it and seeing if it was something that I could do. And I was like, I'll try. I'll see. And I was able to get her a good chunk of change. And I was like, wait a minute. So I started, pushing that more in my SEO. And I even have, the waxinjurylawyer.com. And so
That's nice. I like that.
and so that's been something that has kept me busy. I get a lot of those cases. There's lip fillers. These are all things that happen to people. And because they're not your slip and fall or a car accident or whatever, sometimes they don't even feel like they have a case. But, I'm always like, let me see. And sure enough, I always get something. And I get, it's more than something. I recently got a woman $65,000 for a wax injury case. There's money in it. And the beauty of this case is there's no treatment, so I get the case 3 weeks later, 33 and a third percent. Hello.
Does this apply to men as well? For men out there who
I
may
told
be
you that. I
doing
think you
that?
answered that question.
I asked you. I want them to see hear it.
If you're getting waxed and you're getting injured, because it's not just there's tears, there's burns, there's rashes, there's it's you're getting injured. It's an injury,
Yeah.
like people may think, oh my God, it's silly, but is it? They're supposed to take precautions that if they don't take it and you are hurt, then and so yeah, man, I do those, but I take all injury cases,
Mhm.
and I love what I do. I love there's nothing like handing a check to a client.
Of
Okay, let's
course.
just be clear. And
Absolutely.
I love the opportunity to represent them. I love the opportunity to advocate for my clients. I love advocating. I love making points that they wouldn't otherwise be able to make for themselves, obviously, being in this industry for so long. So yeah.
So what are three, before we go, what are three tips you can give, whether it's attorneys or people in the public that they don't know about when they're dealing with an accident, that you would like to, that you would share as tidbits of information? Three tips. I mean, whoever you want, you can make it towards female attorneys, whatever you want to do.
Well, with regards to if it's about the accident, right?
Hmm.
I'll give a tip towards that. Uh, Definitely always speak to an attorney, because some people try to resolve things. Like that woman that I recently got, I think I had a wax injury case where I got her 50 grand. The manager was trying to give her $500. So it's
Wow.
right. So speak to an attorney. Just
Mhm.
give yourself that. Speak to an attorney. Don't sign anything that an attorney has not reviewed. Okay, don't sign no damn release. That we do this day in and day out. We know how to find value where you may not see it. And if you get hurt, you're hurt permanently. And so if an insurance company is just trying to get you to sign a document just to get rid of you, they're getting rid of you because they're covering themselves and their exposure, but you are keeping the impact and the effect of whatever hurt you sustain permanently for chump change. So definitely speak to an attorney. Don't sign anything without having an attorney look at it. Just any attorney who does PI should be able to give you some insight. And when it comes to my women lawyers, if you are not in the PI game, pre-suit, just do that for yourself. Okay. You can still do family law, you can still do immigration law, you can still do estate planning, but one or two of these cases could change your life. And if you get a nice settlement in a year. I was going. Was it all? When was June? Let me tell you what happened last year for me. Again, the laptop lifestyle lawyer by the pool. So my kids get out of school in June, and I'm at the Satai in Miami. Okay, which I'm by the pool, and I'm on a mediation, right? By the pool. And so I'm doing my thing. So I settled this case for $400,000, right? I leave to Europe with my kids for, I think we went for 10 or 12 days. I went to Wimbledon. I did all the things, had so much fun. Came back in August and had another mediation for 425,000. So if you just had those two cases, that's it.
That's a salary that's a great salary for 1 year for most human beings.
It's a good cushion. It's a good influx of cash.
Yeah.
Now, you may not want to do all that and maybe get a couple wax cases, right? But at 33 and a third percent on a 50,000 or whatever, even if you don't want to take big cases and you take some pre-settlements, pre-suit settlements with regards to, slip and falls or car accidents or whatever, there's so much cash flow that you can inject in your business. And the more cash you have, the more flexibility you have, because you can buy your time back. You can buy your time back by hiring someone, to do the things you're currently doing. And you can buy your time back by, not having to take so many of the cases that are billed hourly or flat fee based, because you have more cash flow. And so, because again, I am a big proponent of lifestyle and living your best life and having control of what you do in your day, instead of having somebody tell you what to do with your day. That's one of the major ways that I am able to do that for myself. So those are my tidbits.
So tell people where they can find you, because you have a bunch of websites.
Well, KaraVaval.com.
I will put them on the description, everyone. So
okay, perfect. So KaraVaval.com is like a hub for what I do as far as my coaching and the laptop lifestyle lawyer stuff. Kara Vaval ESQ across, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you can connect with me there. And vaval-law.com is the website. You could also find a link from Kara Vaval to the website of the law firm. So if you're looking for me there, you can find me, Google me. And I have a couple pages on
I did want to hit this. You wrote a book.
I did write a book.
And I'm gonna link, and I'll link that as well. 28,000
days make yours count. So that's the average lifespan of a human being. The human lives about 75 years, which is 28,000 days. Hence why I said you're on borrowed time, and we're not. We're alive. This is not a dress rehearsal. I say this so much, and so much, every time I get an opportunity to repeat these words, I do, because I want to drive it home that we are not here forever. You have a very finite, station here doing this human dance. So it behooves you to max it out. Max out what your body can do, max out what your mind can do, max out the contribution you can have out here, max out what your mind can, create, dude, you're multifaceted. You're not one thing. The fact that I went to law school doesn't make me just like I'm a lawyer and that's it. There's so many facets of me, and I'm exploring all of them. And my boyfriend said to me, he's like, because me being a lawyer is like a thing, he likes that I'm a lawyer. And I said, yeah, and that's just one part of me. And he's like, well, that's the main part of me. I'm like, it's not the main part of me.
Haven't you noticed I'm at the pool doing a mediation? That's not the main part of me.
The things that I do, dude. And if I decide to be a freaking plumber for a season of my life, that's what I'm going to do if I feel like I want to do that. And he's just looking at me like I'm crazy. But, I'm trying to make a point. And the point is that you have way more skills that have been built into you than you'll ever even use in this lifetime. Just use as many as you can.
That's awesome. I appreciate your time. I thank you so very, very much. Folks, this is some legendary stuff. Attorneys, if you don't take anything from this, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, because this is this will blow you. This blows your mind, in my opinion. I think this is amazing, and for female attorneys, you need to jump on board with one of these webinars, one of these sessions. Go to a retreat. It'll change your life. Just the conversation, because it opens my mind, and I'm not a woman, so I gotta tell you, I thank you so very much for jumping on with me today, um,
Oh,
folks.
thank you so much for having me. And thank you to all your listeners for granting me your listening. I don't take it lightly, you know, so that's why I try to pour as much of what I got in me, because, you know, this might be the only time, you know, you get to hear
Yeah,
from me. So thank you for your listening.
it's my pleasure, folks. This is Kara Vaval, legal legend. Legal. All right.
Woo!
We will see you soon. Thank you again.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
All right.